What's up, guys? Welcome to the Reload. My name is Cody Luongo, and I have an insane echo in my ear right now. So if we can adjust that ASAP. Okay, that sounds better. What's up, guys? Okay, welcome to the show. My name is Cody Luongo. We're here today we're here on Wednesday, not to conflict with the IEM Katowice major, but we're bringing you the best in CS every week. That's what we do. Today, it's just myself, so we're going to get comfortable. We get the Twitch chat up live. Huge shout out to Adam Banter in the chat right now. Guys, fire questions, talk. Let's generate a bit of banter and just keep the fun going. So, got a couple stories to touch on. Obviously, Tarek signing on with NRG. We'll get more into that. Recapping the Legend Stage action has been absolutely insane, needless to say. Quarterfinals, the playoffs of IEM Katowice getting started tomorrow at 9 a.m. And obviously our Hotspawn play of the week and banter of the week. This is a good one, so you're going to want to wait till the end of the show to go ahead and see what we got going on there. No spoilers, though. No spoilers. But first off, let's get into in the news. This week, you have Tarek signing on with NRG. Tarek to replace Fugly following the major after going 0-3 in the Legend stage. Now, they had an insane showing, NRG did, in the Challenger stage of the major. But unfortunately fell 0-3 in the Legend stage. Just lacked a bit of confidence there. But all things considered, Tarek is a huge upgrade for this team. He's a major championship winner and also a bit of a wild card in terms of his playstyle, which might just be the X factor NRG needs. You know, they've been bordering or sort of teetering on this top tier CS level, but not quite penetrating, you know, that top 4 or 5, at least in a consistent fashion. So the upgrade from Tarek is huge. And obviously the final thing to consider with this trade is that the dynamic between him and Daps, right? When Daps led Optic, they recruited Tarek as well. And Tarek had already stated at that time that he respected Daps as a leader and a player. So having him IGL his team, Tarek, is going to be, it's a good dynamic to touch on. And obviously it's important for the success of this team going forward. So that's huge for them. It's unfortunate to see NRG fall or flop out of the major so early. I like that bug. Cody Luongo, that's me. We got it right there in the bottom left, guys. Here's a good one, though. The World Electronic Sports Games, the seeding is completely destroyed. We take a look at the graphic right now. This is an almost $900,000 tournament. And what people's main stipulations are really with this is that if you see Group E, yeah, that group right there, absolutely stacked. You have the tournament favorites, Fnatic, Wendigo, obviously a strong team, ENCE ranked number 9 in the world, just qualified for the playoff stage of IEM Katowice, and Movie Star Riders, the Spaniards, who are actually a really strong team, all things considered. If you look at the pool, you don't have, you know, we're lacking Australis, Liquid, Navi in this WESG lineup. So people are having, you know, a bit of a problem with this. This is a high-profile tournament, you know, WESG, huge name and brand and title. And also you see Group A, Ninjas and Pajamas, G2, solid teams. But when you look at the rest of the groups and the pools here, you're not seeing a lot of, you know, title contenders in this lineup. Look at Group D, GH, like teams that you've almost never heard of. A lot of rumors going on around this. You know, you have people saying that this is like rigged for China to get their teams into, you know, the final stage of the tournament and have a chance. But really, it's just dropping the ball in terms of World Electronic Sports Games. But people aren't surprised, right? Because this isn't the first time this has happened in CS history with this tournament specifically. What's the deal? What's the, you know, real shakedown? We're not sure. But obviously, the things should change. If you're seeding a tournament, it should be seeded properly. So a little bit of junk. Yeah, who are half these teams in the chat? I know. No one can tell us the truth. So we also have the Legend stage that just wrapped up last week. We're going to go ahead and recap, obviously, some of that for you. NLG falling flat on their face, as we mentioned. Team went from 3-0 to 0-3. They performed spectacularly in the Challenger stage, right? We knew Energy was a strong team. They won CS Summit 3 last season, and just they climbed up the rankings so fast. We knew that this team was definitely dangerous, but to see them fall out 0-3 was not really what we expected. They lost to NIP, fair enough. A Vengar, also a strong team, and Complexity. It's not necessarily that these teams are bad or the draw was poor for them, but it's just not the result we were expecting, obviously. So it is poor from them. There was an interview on VP Sports about Complexity's coach admitting to mental pressure from the tournament that played into the defeats. Look, if you're here, you made it this far, you got to have a little chip on your shoulder. You got to have some swag coming into these games. It's critical. Absolutely. I'm also trying to keep up with the chat, guys, if I'm taking some pauses, because, obviously people chatting up. How far is Renegades going to go in Katowice? That's a good question. Renegades, this team is stacked. I mean, maybe not comparatively to the rest in the playoff bracket, but they've stunned this far in the tournament. I mean, they went 3-0 in the first stage, 3-1 in Legends. Just super talented group of guys. Liaz, who really looks like John Lennon. Just, look at a picture of Lennon and Liaz, put it side to side. You'll see the similarities are crazy. That was the meme of the century, Banter of the week last week for sure. But super solid team. They've stunned this far, so to see or try to predict where they're going to go is, it's a tough one. They're playing MIBR in the first round, but we'll touch on that a little bit more as we go on. Still recapping the Legend stage, you had FaZe and NIP. They narrowly advanced in the 5th round, but not in the convincing manner that we would expect from these teams. I mean, FaZe is such a legendary name in Counter-Strike, just not the same team that they once were. They nearly dropped the ball, them and NIP together. But you talk about that C9 match when they played Cloud9, it was almost felt like it had remnants of the E-League Boston Major rematch, because obviously that's when Cloud9 spectacularly toppled them in the grand finals to win their first major. That was just it was the story of 2018 and the story of Cloud9. But in this matchup specifically, it was 16-14 cash, as you're seeing. FaZe had a huge lead, and I don't remember the exact deficit, but Cloud9 was able to pull it back. And that was, again, in thanks to the brilliant plays from Zealous, Rush, Kiyoshima. Automatic's op is insane. You'll probably see one of the highlights in here from Automatic just playing that op role so solidly and soundly. So there was also the Dust 2 match, right, where it finished 16-9, but FaZe had a pretty sizable lead. It had to be like 12-3 going into the halftime. And Cloud9 again, yet almost pulled it back. Obviously stopped them far shorter this time than nearly forcing the overtime on cash. But still, it just leaves you a little shaky when you're thinking about FaZe Clan. So, all in all, the map pool, when you think about it, for FaZe, it's not that strong, but they are fielding the new team. And, you don't know how much these guys have practiced yet. So it's hard to say where FaZe is going to end up, really, because we're just not convinced ultimately, right? The wins against teams that you would assume they would stomp are just slight, barely edging by them. But one highlight that we're going to bring up in a second here is what I'm going to call Godimatic. It's Automatic's op. You might have seen it in the highlight sizzler there, but we'll go ahead and bring it up for you right now. Let's run that clip.
Strong, and it's going to be almost a clean sweep for FaZe. Although Automatic did just take down Olofmeister, Guardian missed one too many shots with his AWP. With that smoke, he could maybe try and get his hands on the bomb. He's done just that. And also lands a shot into Guardian. This is now getting really costly for FaZe Clan.
He's never going to expect it to be
Yeah, so Automatic, literally this play is mental from him. So smart to perch up right here in the break in the wall, pick up the AK, obviously. Without it, would have never made that play happen, as you have the two guys coming out simultaneously. That, obviously, our Hotspawn play of the week. And probably the highlight of the Legend stage was Automatic pulling off that kill right there. The Godimatic, as they're calling him, right? So moving into this story of this week in CS is the quarterfinals in IEM Katowice. I think the biggest narrative of this event right now is Liquid versus Astralis. They're on opposite sides of the bracket, which is staging the grand final of Liquid and Astralis. What more could you ask for? The two arguably best teams in the world right now. Astralis, maybe you don't got to argue that hard, but Liquid obviously climbing up. They have their new roster with Stewie, and it's a new Liquid with Stewie. Stewie playing this aggressive, sort of unpredictable playstyle that fits in with the rest of the team so well. You see Nav being such a creative player, right? Thinking outside of the box with his plays, really determining a lot of the games for Liquid. And, you know, it sometimes only takes a round, a very pivotal round to swing. So when you factor in Stewie into that, he just sort of fits the blend of Liquid, sort of this renegade rogue type of player, always known for pushing through the smoke, right? An absolute smoke criminal. But he doesn't do it wildly. He does it very smart. It's predicted. It's calculated. It's like a high risk, high reward play, and that's sort of the Stewie that we've seen so far, and the Stewie that we're anticipating to see in the Legend stage. But then you have Astralis, right? The Intel Grand Slam champions, considered light years ahead of their international competition, and probably the most professional and disciplined team of all time. They lost to Liquid at I by Power Masters 4. Although the circumstances are up in the air, it's almost like people discredit that win from Liquid because the tournament was, pardon my language, but an absolute shit show, right? I mean, there was so many tech issues. Games were so far delayed. The stage was set up so that both teams could see their opponents right off the bat. So people discredit that win, but I don't, certainly, because you're still playing on the same game, same server, and you got to go with the conditions, right? You know what I mean? What if one of the players is sick? What if, there's going to be delays. It's just part of the game. So, convincing enough to think that Liquid can beat Astralis consistently? Not yet, right? They got a long way to go, but possibly staging them too in the grand finals and having one or the other win is going to tell a lot. And if Liquid win, it's going to be a good year for them. No doubt about that. But going more into the matchups, you have Liquid versus ENCE first. Liquid sort of have this informational advantage against ENCE, right? ENCE has been playing together for a long time now. For Liquid, you have Stewie entering the mix as he just recently joined the team. So there's a lot of less data about Liquid when you want to draw from, VODs, watch the Go videos, and find out about the team and what their strategies are, what they like to do, what are their play styles. You don't have that when you're looking at Liquid right now. So that gives them a bit of an advantage in that sense. Most people are going to say, oh, well, that's less time they've practiced together, less time, to work out the kinks. But that is a small advantage in the way of Liquid. They also have a pretty solid map pool right now, I'd say, at least on every map that we've seen them are so far. We talk about ENCE, right? Very methodical, strategic. These tacticians of the game. Every time you see ENCE, pull off an execution, it's very smooth, so calculated. These guys know what they're doing. They stick to their guns. And that's what has helped propel them to this next stage in CS in terms of global rankings. So if we're comparing the two in a match, again, there's little data to really pull from Liquid when you're thinking prediction-wise, but Liquid has very strong Dust 2. Their cache is decent as well. As for ENCE, Nuke is, again, one of those maps that kind of fits in with that strategic, methodical style of play. So I feel like Nuke is where ENCE could gain the lead and the advantage over Liquid. But overall, Liquid just the more stronger team here in this bout, no doubt about it. That's a page off the books, babe. All right, you have Navi and FaZe Clan, right? Navi, in terms of team form, there's two types of Navi you see. The Navi that is gunning, firing on all cylinders, and then the Navi that is just non-existent, flat, just painful to watch, shooting each other in the back. You know, that was a play from, I forget which tournament, but you had one of the Navi guys shooting a teammate in the back, and they're just getting pissed off at each other. You know, it's either this team is on or they're off, basically. But in this tournament, in terms of form, they look like their typical selves. They have a high range of performance that oscillates them from extremely good to very shaky. And right now, they're somewhere in the middle, but I'd pin them as being more in the upper end of that percentile, that bracket right now. So Navi is looking good. But we're still not entirely convinced, right? They nearly got eliminated by Complexity in the 4th round, have yet to show the form of play that we associate with this team. You know, their best maps, you have Overpass, Train, Mirage. They're very skilled on Inferno, Nuke, and, you know, as for like Dust 2 right now, as you can see, it's a little shaky as well. So, especially when they're going up against more elite sides. FaZe, like I would say, formerly an elite team, elite unit, but right now, you know, this isn't the same FaZe that was playing in the middle of the 2018 season, right? You know, they dropped Kerrigan, things have been up in the air, IGLs have been swapped around a little bit, and the team is just not the same, bottom line. So that obviously a little tricky for them. But when we move into our next matchup, you have MIBR versus Renegades. Now, MIBR is such a exciting team to watch, to think about. This is the former SK Gaming roster that dominated all of 2017. You know, they have Taco back in the mix, Zeus as the coach, Phelps. This is such an exciting team. All Brazilians, all Portuguese speaking, just a fiery style of CS. And CS is like religion in Brazil, in this country. So to see them back together, winning games, is a very, you know, it's an exciting notion. And finally, you know, at the start of Legend Stage, MIBR was a little shaky. Honestly, forget who their first game was against, but dropped the ball, got eliminated. It was 16-3. If I could pull that one out of the back of my head, I'll bring it up. But MIBR is since coming into form, right? But then you have Renegades, right? The group is stunned so far. They have a lot of talented players, Liaz, Gratification, JKS. But on paper, MIBR is a better team, no doubt. You know, all major winners. They've been playing together for so long, although this most recent stint is short, getting together over the player break in January. But it's still the lineup of the 2017 Dream Team, right, from SK Gaming. They were the Astralis of their time. So to think that this team is going to flub out at any moment, it's possible, obviously, you know, even though I just psyched them up, I'm almost contradicting myself here. But, you know, to think that they're going to fall flat against Renegades is... I don't want to believe it, right? I'm a fan of the Brazilians, right? Maybe I'm a little biased, but Renegades is also super strong. They have, they've shown they have a fairly decent map pool. They can play well against top tier teams. They took a game off Astralis, which is absolutely unheard of. So you don't know. You don't know how far MIBR or Renegades could make it. This is a very deciding game for them. And then you have Astralis versus Ninjas in Pajamas. What are you going to say? This is Astralis all day. You have the #1 team in the world. They've been #1 for over a year now, well over a year. They are undefeated on Nuke in over a year as well. I think they're at 38-0. This team, they have everything from the players to the coaches. You have Zonic as a coach, is just extremely brilliant in terms of keeping the teams managed, keeping everything in point. And I'm getting distracted by the chat. Tazar, you're not sponsored here. Shout out, Big Nick. But look, Ninja's flat as hell in this tournament. We can't trust them against Astralis, and Astralis is a far better skilled team, realistically. So, Astralis all the way. There's really nothing else to say. If Ninjas in Pajamas win a best of 3 against Astralis on Friday when they play, I will eat a keyboard. Okay, that's a promise to everyone right now who's listening. I will eat an entire keyboard. I will cut it up and do it for the squad. Just saying. Lastly, let's wrap up. We got our banter of the week this week. This was on the ESL Instagram page. You have Jordan Nothing Gilbert, the man, the myth, doing a little freestyle. Right? Let's see what it is.
This is a little 90s beat, it's slow. Okay. Chilling in the chair with my man Ryan here. Got the snipe shirts on, that's all he's trying to wear. We're in ESL, Poland, Katowice. Friends trying to win versus FaZe. Tomorrow it will be their end. Don't want to lose, going home on a win. I'm trying to sit in this chair tomorrow and throw a grin at Ryan when he interviews me. Said, how the heck you 2-0 those newbies? Call him Nico, can he handle? No, he can't. Dismantle their whole team like some ants. Now I'm trying to tell you thanks for this, be my boy Ryan. We'll end this with FaZe fans crying.
End it with FaZe fans crying. Now that's obviously not the way the series went against Complexity. It was close. We'll give it to him for sure. But nonetheless, Jordan, class act. Not a bad freestyle, okay? I can't spit, as the cool kids say. I can't do that myself, but on the fly, you got a mic in his hand being interviewed. To throw down a freestyle like that, got to give him credit, right? Thank you guys for watching. My name's Cody Luongo, and I will see you next week, Thursday at 2 p.m. Obviously, huge thanks to you guys for watching. Huge thanks to UGC for producing the show, and also a massive thanks to our partners, Hotspawn, for fueling the show, giving us great content, and obviously go visit their site, hotspawn.com. Check it out. CSGO, League, Dota, all the esports coverage you want to hear. Thank you guys again.